Let me ask you a question. If I gave you $1 million today, but I didn't change your mindset, how long would it last? A year? Maybe 2? Here's the truth most people never consider. Wealth is not in the wallet. It's in the mind. Money does not make the millionaire. The millionaire makes the money. And if you want your bank account to grow, you must first grow the person managing it. Success is predictable. It's not luck, and it's not magic. It's hard work and discipline. So today, we're going to talk about something powerful. Act as if you are already a millionaire. Not by spending like one, not by pretending, but by thinking, deciding, and living like one. Because income rarely exceeds personal development. There is something powerful about identity. Not income, not status, not possessions. Identity. Because the way you see yourself determines the way you behave. And the way you behave determines the results you get. Now listen carefully. Acting like a millionaire is not about buying expensive things. It's not about wearing a certain watch. It's not about driving a certain car. That's imitation. I'm talking about something deeper. I'm talking about standards. A millionaire has higher standards. Higher standards for discipline. Higher standards for integrity. Higher standards for how they use their time. And when you raise your standards, your life begins to rise with them. Most people wait. They wait for the promotion. They wait for the opportunity. They wait for the right moment. But winners decide first. They act first. They don't wait until they feel wealthy to think wealthy. They decide to think wealthy now. Here's a simple truth. You cannot live $1 million life with minimum standards. It doesn't work because success is not an event. It is a process, and the process begins inside. When you act like a millionaire, you begin to ask different questions. Instead of asking, how little can I do and still get by? You ask, how much value can I create today? Instead of saying, that's not my job, you say, how can I contribute more? That shift alone changes everything because wealth flows toward value and value flows from discipline. Let me tell you something important. Millionaires don't drift. They don't wander through life hoping things improve. They plan. They decide. They execute. They understand something the average person ignores. Every small decision matters. How you wake up matters. How you speak matters. How you spend your evenings matters. Because habits are powerful. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Failure is nothing more than a few errors in judgment repeated every day. Now think about that. If you act careless today, and careless tomorrow, and careless next week, you don't need to predict the future. The future will predict itself. But if you act disciplined today, intentional tomorrow, focused next week, the outcome becomes predictable. That is the power of acting like a millionaire. It creates momentum. Another thing, millionaires protect their reputation. They show up on time. They keep their word. They finish what they start, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching, because character is not built in public. It is built in private, and character is the foundation of wealth. You see, money amplifies who you already are. If you are careless, money makes you more careless. If you are generous, money makes you more generous. If you are disciplined, money makes you powerful. So the question is not, how do I get rich? The question is, who must I become? When you begin acting like a millionaire, you stop making excuses. You stop blaming circumstances. You take responsibility. And responsibility is where power lives. Poor thinking says, it's the economy. Rich thinking says, it's my responsibility. Poor thinking says, I don't have enough. Rich thinking says, how can I create more? Do you see the difference? It's subtle, but it's life-changing. Acting like a millionaire means investing in yourself. Reading when others are scrolling. learning when others are complaining, building skills when others are distracted, because you understand something powerful. Income rarely exceeds personal development. You don't earn more by wishing. You earn more by becoming more valuable, more skilled, more disciplined. And here's the beauty of it. You don't need money to start. You need a decision to raise your standards, a decision to control your attitude, a decision to treat your time as precious. The moment you make that decision, you begin to change your identity. And when identity changes, behavior follows. And when behavior changes, results follow. That is the power. So act like a millionaire, not in appearance, not in ego, but in discipline, in responsibility, in growth. Because when you become wealthy in character, financial wealth becomes a matter of time, and time favors the disciplined. Let's go a little deeper. If you truly want to act like a millionaire, you must change what you focus on. Most people focus on money, how much they make, how much they spend, how much they wish they had. But millionaires focus on something else. Value, because money is a reward. Value is the cause. And if you chase the reward without building the cause, you will always struggle. Here's a principle worth writing down. Your income is directly related to the value you bring to the marketplace, not your wishes, not your intentions, not your excuses, your value. If you want to earn more, become more skilled, more knowledgeable, more reliable, more creative. You cannot earn $1 million income with a minimum wage mindset. It doesn't happen. Now think about this. When you walk into your workplace, what is your focus? Are you thinking, I hope I get paid more? Or are you thinking, how can I become more valuable today? That small shift changes your future because value compounds. Every new skill adds leverage. Every improvement adds opportunity. Every discipline adds strength. And over time, those small additions create extraordinary results. Millionaires understand leverage. They ask, how can I multiply my effort? They invest in skills that pay long-term dividends. Communication, leadership, problem solving, financial intelligence. These are assets, and assets create income. Poor thinking says, I just need a better job. Wealthy thinking says, I need better skills. One depends on circumstances. The other depends on you. And the good news, you control you. Let me share something simple. If you improve yourself by just 1% every day, in a year you are unrecognizable. But most people don't improve daily. They drift daily. And drifting is expensive. Drifting costs opportunity. Drifting costs confidence. Drifting costs years. Acting like a millionaire means refusing to drift. It means being intentional about growth, reading daily, learning daily, practicing daily, because you understand this truth. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Now let's talk about problems. Most people avoid problems. Millionaires solve them. In fact, the size of your income is often determined by the size of problems you can solve. Small problems, small income. Big problems, big income. So instead of complaining about challenges, start preparing for them. Instead of avoiding responsibility, ask for more. Because responsibility is where growth lives. And growth attracts opportunity. Another key difference? Millionaires delay gratification. They are willing to sacrifice today for freedom tomorrow. They invest before they spend. They build before they celebrate. They understand that pleasure without discipline leads to regret. But discipline now leads to options later. Acting like a millionaire means thinking long-term, not just about this week, not just about this month, but about 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Where are you heading? If your habits remain the same, where will you be? These are millionaire questions because wealthy people live strategically. They don't react to life. They design it. And design begins with value. Every day ask yourself, what did I learn today? How did I improve today? Who did I help today? What skill did I strengthen today? These questions shape identity, and identity shapes income. Remember this, money does not create value. Value creates money. If you build the person, you will build the paycheck. If you build the skill, you will build the income. If you build the discipline, you will build the fortune. Act like a millionaire by becoming obsessed with growth, obsessed with contribution, obsessed with excellence. Because when you focus on value, money becomes a byproduct. And when money is the byproduct, it tends to stay. That is the difference. Chasing money is exhausting. Building value is empowering. So raise your value, sharpen your skills, expand your thinking, and watch how the marketplace begins to respond. Because wealth is not random. It is attracted to those who prepare for it. Let's talk about something most people take for granted. Time. Everyone has it, but few use it wisely. Here's the truth. Time is the great equalizer. The rich and poor both have 24 hours in a day. The difference is in how they use it. If you want to act like a millionaire, you must treat your time like a millionaire does. Millionaires understand that time is more valuable than money because money can be replaced. Time cannot. A millionaire plans their day. They prioritize. They execute. They avoid distractions. The average person drifts. They scroll. They watch. They postpone. And as a result, life drifts by. Here's a principle to remember. How you spend your hours determines how you spend your years. Small choices matter. Every minute counts. Wake up with purpose. Plan your day. Focus on high-value activities. Say no to low-value distractions. Because low-value activities are the silent killers of dreams. Millionaires delegate what they can. They automate what they can. They focus on the things only they can do. They work smarter, not just harder. And this is why acting like a millionaire is more than just mindset. It's practice. It's habits. It's discipline. Consider this. If you spend 3 hours a day on social media, that's 21 hours a week. Over a year, that's more than 1,000 hours wasted. 1,000 hours. Now imagine investing that time in learning a new skill, building your network, or working on your business. That's the difference between drifting and acting like a millionaire. Another thing millionaires do, they schedule time for personal growth, reading, learning, reflecting, because they know personal development compounds. Just like money, even the richest person will lose wealth if their mindset and skills don't grow. But the person who grows daily eventually attracts wealth, regardless of where they start. Millionaires also guard their mornings. The first hours of the day determine the tone of the day. Wake up early. Exercise your mind and body. Focus on your priorities before the world demands your attention. This simple practice separates the wealthy from the ordinary. And let's not forget the importance of reflection. Each night, review your day. Ask, did I focus on what mattered most? Did I use my time wisely? Did I move closer to my goals? If the answer is no, adjust. Millionaires don't complain about time lost. They learn from it. Discipline with time builds freedom. Because when you master your minutes, you master your life. And when you master your life, you attract the results you desire. So start today. Act like a millionaire with your time. Prioritize what matters. Say no to distractions. Invest every hour in what grows your value. Because time is the silent multiplier of success. Master your time and wealth will follow. Now we come to something often overlooked, your standards. Acting like a millionaire isn't just about thinking right, managing time, or building skills. It's also about how you carry yourself, because wealth is attracted to standards. Opportunity seeks those who maintain them, and success honors those who demand more of themselves than anyone else does. Most people live below their potential because they tolerate too much. They accept excuses, both from themselves and from others. They let circumstances define them instead of defining their circumstances. A millionaire thinks differently. They refuse to settle for mediocrity. They refuse to compromise their integrity. They refuse to let excuses dictate their actions. This is the power of standards. Your standard is the benchmark you refuse to go below. It's what you accept and what you refuse. It shapes your habits, your decisions, and ultimately your results. Consider this. When you say, "I will not skip my commitments," you create reliability. When you say, "I will not compromise my word," you create trust. When you say, "I will work harder on myself than on excuses," you create progress. The millionaire's standard begins in private, not in front of others, not for applause. It's built in the small, unseen choices. Doing the work even when no one is watching. Learning even when it's inconvenient. Being disciplined when no one holds you accountable. Because character is invisible until opportunity tests it. And opportunity always tests it. Another key point. Millionaires carry themselves with confidence without arrogance. They don't brag. They don't boast. They don't need recognition. Their presence alone communicates standards. Their discipline, consistency, and integrity shine louder than words ever could. Here's a simple truth. People respect what you demand of yourself. They follow what you consistently enforce in your own life. And the world treats your standards as your identity. Standards also shape your environment. If you tolerate negativity, laziness, and mediocrity around you, your environment will reflect it. But if you demand excellence, integrity, and effort, even from yourself, you attract like-minded people. You attract opportunities. You create a life that matches your identity. Acting like a millionaire means raising your bar in every area of life. How you spend your time, how you manage your money, how you communicate with others, how you care for your health and mind. Small things build standards. Showing up on time, keeping promises, dressing and speaking with intention, respecting your word and others' time. And when these standards become automatic, they form the foundation of your identity. Now, let's talk about adversity. A millionaire's standard is not broken by difficulty. It is strengthened by it. They don't collapse under pressure. They don't complain when things get hard. They respond. They adapt. They overcome. Because the standard is higher than the moment. The standard does not bend to comfort. The standard does not negotiate with excuses. And this is what separates ordinary people from those who achieve extraordinary results. Ordinary people wait for circumstances to improve. Extraordinary people improve their circumstances by raising their standards. So here's the challenge. Decide today what your standard will be. Then enforce it in every decision, every action, every moment. Discipline yourself even when it's inconvenient. Demand excellence even when no one is watching. Carry yourself with integrity, confidence, and relentless focus. Because identity is built one standard at a time. And wealth, opportunity, and success follow the person who refuses to settle for less than they are capable of. Act like a millionaire. Not for show, not for others, but for yourself. Raise your standards. Carry them with pride. And watch how your life begins to reflect the excellence within you. Now we arrive at the ultimate truth. Wealth begins long before the bank account reflects it. It begins in your identity, in who you are, in the standards you uphold, in the decisions you make when no one is watching. Acting like a millionaire is not about pretending. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle wealth even before it arrives. Because here's the principle. Income rarely exceeds personal development. Your bank account is a reflection of who you are. If your habits are careless, your income will be limited. If your mindset is small, your opportunities will be small. If your standards are low, success will bypass you. But when you raise your identity, when you become disciplined, responsible, and value-driven, money and opportunity are attracted to you naturally. Let me be clear. Identity is more than ambition. It's more than desire. It's what you do daily, without excuses, without shortcuts. Millionaires make decisions based on who they are, not who they hope to become. They act wealthy in their discipline. They act wealthy in their thinking. They act wealthy in their time management. They act wealthy in their relationships and integrity. And this is what creates consistency. Consistency creates results. Results compound into wealth. Consider this. If you spend 15 days acting intentionally, building your skills, managing your time, improving your habits, by the end of it, your mindset will shift. Growth begins to feel natural. Discipline begins to feel normal. Responsibility becomes your default. This is how identity is built. One choice, one habit, one standard at a time. Many people focus on results. They say, I want $1 million. I want recognition. I want success. But results are temporary. They can come and go. They can vanish in a moment. Identity, on the other hand, is permanent. Who you are dictates what you attract. Who you are shapes the decisions you make. Who you are determines how you handle the opportunities that come your way. So the real question is not, how do I make $1 million? The real question is, who must I become to naturally earn $1 million? When your identity changes, your results follow. When growth becomes part of who you are, you no longer chase motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Identity is consistent. The millionaire mindset is not a habit. It's a lifestyle. It's woven into your character. It's the default setting of your behavior. Here's a powerful thought. Act as if you are a millionaire every day, in every decision. Invest in yourself. Learn relentlessly. Serve others with value. Control your time. Raise your standards. Do this long enough, and it becomes your identity. When identity and action align, wealth is inevitable, because the millionaire within cannot settle for less. The millionaire within cannot tolerate wasted time. The millionaire within cannot ignore opportunities for growth. The process is simple, but it is not easy. It requires patience. It requires consistency. It requires courage. But the reward? A life where success is no longer something you chase. It becomes a reflection of who you are. A life where opportunity flows toward you naturally. A life where discipline, standards, and growth are not burdens, they are your identity. So today, start acting. Not for show, not for others, but for the person you are becoming. Raise your identity. Raise your standards. Raise your life. Because when identity precedes income, wealth becomes inevitable. Success becomes natural. And the millionaire you aspire to be becomes the person you already are. And there you have it. The path to wealth is not just about money. It's about who you become, your habits, your standards, your mindset. Act like a millionaire, not for show, not for others, but for yourself. Invest in yourself. Learn daily. Take responsibility. Raise your standards. Master your time. Focus on value. When growth becomes your identity, success is no longer a chase. It becomes a natural reflection of who you are. Remember this. Income rarely exceeds personal development. Your life mirrors the person you choose to become. So start today. Decide who you will be. Act intentionally. Carry yourself with integrity, discipline, and purpose. And watch how the millionaire within you begins to show itself in every area of your life. Because wealth is not something you earn, it's something you attract by becoming worthy of it.